I just want to do something that I'm going to commit to.
I'm
Right.
so compelled to share, to pull other people out of their situation.
And I'm giving hope to women just like me who, probably felt unseen or
It's
probably
just about finding what you love and what you're passionate about.
Do what you love. Do what you love.
And I really realized that this is what happens once you let go. You just create all that space,
It's about helping each other. It's about growing with each other. It's about being true to self.
To whom much is given, much is required.
You only ever have one obstacle, and that's yourself.
The Commit to Change. Change your life. Change your future.
Hey, and welcome to the Commit to Change, otherwise known as C2C podcast, that gives a voice to the people who may be considered a small fry in their industry, but are doing big things in their communities. This is Miss Nikki, the Jane of all trades, but the master of living. I am committed to introducing to you local VIPs, which are vivaciously inspiring people to encourage you on your daily journey, as well as let you know what is possibly happening in your area. Today, we have a guest, again, across the waters, that happened to be in the same vicinity of where I was, but I didn't meet her until I left. Go figure. Well, actually, we communicated before I left, but we didn't actually get to interact until I left, which kind of sucked, but it's okay, because now I got a friend afar that I will get to see probably soon if she's still there. The military doesn't move them from her location. I get to see her in March and actually personally meet her. Yay! But let me stop talking. Let me let you see who she is, Miss Aria Almeida. Please say hi.
Hello, everyone. I'm so honored to be here, and I love listening to your intro. It's just the best.
Oh, thank you. Well, now you get to listen to the intro on who you are. Let me tell our audience a little bit more about Miss Aria. Yes, she is a brand and business coach, a podcaster, a loving mom and wife, and she helps entrepreneurs create massive growth in their business through magnetic personal branding. With over 15 years of experience building brands for .coms and Fortune 500 companies such as Capital One, Aria uses her expertise to help starting entrepreneurs build six-figure brands from the ground up and established entrepreneurs break their barriers to new levels of success. Aria adds a unique perspective to business value in the marketplace through her power of personal branding business method. You can listen to her podcast, Brand Boss, on all major podcast players, and she dives into what her personal branding business method is on episode 1 of the show. Now, Aria also offers business coaching to entrepreneurs starting in their space through her Brand Boss Business School program. And for established entrepreneurs, she helps them reach new levels of success in her Next Level Mastermind program. She believes that enabling, empowering, and supporting people to create a life they love brings more peace amongst us all. Welcome again to the C2C family and podcast, Miss Aria Almeida.
Oh, so wonderful. Thank you. Thank you so much. And thank you for having me here. And when you said C2C, actually, I was like, oh, from C to C. Ah.
Uh-huh. Okay, that works. Well, Aria.
Always going different places.
Absolutely. So Aria, can you please tell our audience just a little bit more about you? Let them get to know who you are, what you do,
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, well, I hope this lighting is still okay. Yeah, absolutely. So I have been in marketing and branding strategy for really quite a long time. Like you said, over 15 years. And I'll say it this way. I've never really been that great at stuff. I was always kind of that person who was always sort of walking around trying to figure out what the heck am I doing here, you know? And I was really good at applying myself to my studies. I was really good at applying myself to very logical ways of thinking, all of that good stuff. And, after 15 years, I decided, you know what, coaching is sounding like the place that I want to be at this time in my life. There was a lot of evolution that happened being in my 30s. And I was able to open myself up to the world of coaching and discovering what it is and how I could find my home here. And I really did back in 2019. That seems so far ago, but so long ago, but it was really just last year. And really just bringing my knowledge, my skill, my expertise to the table and really helping people just up-level their life. And that fuels me in so many different ways. Becoming a mother has really taught me even how to elevate my skills of helping people and just being more empathetic and more, being supportive from a place of impact and not necessarily a place of, well, I can be supportive, but there's no real role for me here. As we float through life, that's typically how we think we're taken. But yeah, becoming a mother has really taught me a new perspective on that supportive role. And like you said, being a military wife and sort of realizing that is going to be the rest of my life. Being an entrepreneur has really just allowed me to say, you know what? I'm more than just your wife. And I am an entrepreneur and I am self-made. And I am this big, powerful being, and I could be all of these things at the same time. And I'm going to do it and build an amazing freaking life doing it.
Yes.
And here I am, a woman of no limitations and just doing the damn thing.
No limits soldier. Yes.
No limits. Don't you dare.
So tell me, what inspired you to make this commitment to change? What said, I know you said you discovered being a coach, but what inspired that? What led you to that journey?
I feel like it is compounded of so many different things. But I would say the biggest catalyst of where this went or how this came about, of going from corporate workforce or even just traditional workforce into becoming an entrepreneur and changing my life completely, was the fact that I had to, in order to keep my marriage together, in order to, even to boldly say, to save my marriage and for us to be a really strong unit together and to figure out even what that meant, it meant me leaving my entire life that I spent over 30 years building on my own in a really, really, really strong way. Any woman would have been so proud to have built what I built, right? I built a career in a really well-established brand like Capital One. I was at managerial levels. I was looked at as an expert in my field. You have no idea how many titles that I have owned throughout my career of expert. I was trusted amongst the people who were trying to make big moves in the world. And I was making a 6-figure income. We owned a $500,000 home. I was not paying for my car. There was so much freedom and flexibility, I think, that we think of in the traditional sense. And I had to leave it all behind.
Wow.
Follow my husband to Germany, to a place where I knew no one. I actually didn't even know that we would be in the middle of nowhere as much as we are in the middle of nowhere. The fact that the biggest city, the only place that would have the closest place that would have the only opportunity for me to get back into that traditional workforce was an hour away, or is an hour away. And for that mere fact, I was getting turned down left and right and left and right. And after thinking that I've built myself up to such a place in my career that I was secure and I was confident about, and I'm like a total badass who's not going to want to hire me. To be told no, or we're so sorry, like, or, you know, like our schedules are just not going to, like those kinds of things, it was a really big, just hit to my ego. It was feeling like I was getting cut off at the legs. Like it was really heart-wrenching for me. But I told myself, like, no, I gave up I made the sacrifice for a reason. And it's either I'm here for it or I'm not. And so I really had to fight and find my way, for sure.
So would you say that this was something good, or is it something like, do you miss the corporate world? Do you miss that world, or you're happy that you were forced into this change?
I'm so freaking happy. I am like beyond. Now, while I invested so much in myself and I was so incredibly proud of everything that I accomplished up until that point, and it was incredibly hard for me to let go. There was a lot of resentment, you know, when I moved here, like, wait, I was supposed to come here to save my marriage. Like, why am I here? Like, I'm just resenting him for all of this. That's also why the world of coaching helped me and saved me really as a whole human. I don't miss it in that sense, but the entire experience made me look at life accomplishments. It made me look at the definition of freedom. It made me look at the definition even of self-worth in such a liberated way that I now feel way more powerful with exactly who I am and who I will consistently evolve to be than I ever would have with that 6-figure income, with those corporate titles, with those corporate brands behind me, with all of those traditional senses of, wow, that's a badass woman. No, I feel bigger. I feel better. I feel liberated to be completely, wholly me. And so I would never, ever.
Wow. Ever?
Unless they wanted me to coach them to build a better culture, right?
Right. What a way to show back up in the space, though. That would be like totally awesome. So that's awesome. Like the whole idea of living beyond the title. I see a show idea.
Yeah, that's
okay. So what obstacles, when you made that decision to change your life, what obstacles did you face and how did you overcome them?
So many. So many. The biggest one is, of course, the self-belief. There was a lot, you know, that was getting into my self-belief mindset, and a lot that was getting me to compare myself to, you know, what other people were able to do, how other people did it, all of that stuff. And you see, before I got married, I was on a mission to make enough money to not have to depend on a man, right? There was my brain that said I had to do this. And of course, that's a societal belief that I thought, ooh, that's amazing. I want to be like that. And so throughout my adult life, I had worked towards that. And to come into this home, this particular home, and to sit here and have to realize, damn, I'm not making any money. And now I have to rely on my husband. And while that could empower some people, it crushed me. It crushed me to the bone. I would even do things like, you know, use the savings that I had in this other account because that just felt more like mine than it did like his. You know, I was having a real power trip with myself. Really, it was what it was. And then there was also, you know, my family members who were just like, what are you doing? Like, just go and do, like, work anything, or like, just stay and be just a stay-at-home mom. Like, why do you keep trying to look for a job? Like, telling me to give up? What is happening? And that was something I was never used to. But it was also because this was a situation I never faced. And, you know, having a son and a young son, having to find, like, we didn't have any friends when we came here. We didn't have a support system, all of that. In fact, my sister, who was in North Carolina, flew here because I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. I just feel so lost. And so she kind of came to my rescue just to be physically here with me and be a support system.
Wow.
All of that. And then my marriage was not in a great place either, you know, and we were absolutely needing to evolve, like, even in the marriage. And then you insert loss of job, loss of car, loss of friends, loss of family, loss of home, and coming into a completely clean slate, a completely foreign place, a completely place of what felt like scarcity and bareness, like completely bare. That was, like I said, it just was a heap of stuff that felt like a big black hole. That's what I was facing.
So how did you overcome that? Like,
right. So one day, I'll kind of back up. Trying to find these jobs, and it wasn't happening. Like, Nikki, it was getting to the point where I was changing my resume to do things that I didn't like doing anymore. Like, I've gone so far in my career. There were things I never had to do anymore. Why was I changing my resume to be lesser than just so that I could try to get a traditional job?
Yeah.
That was crushing me. And I have a sister, so I'm from Guam, and I have a sister who's still there, and her husband was running for political office. And so she asked me to come home, right? This is sort of thing. You're not doing anything, so why don't you just come home and like work for us and help us? And I did need the time out. I was mentally and emotionally not in a good place at all. And I was like, I need this. I really think I need this. And I went home and I worked that campaign, and I was lit, right? Like, I felt on fire again. I felt amazing. I was working late nights, and I never realized I was been doing that, all of that. And it was a week before I was set to come back here. And I remember sitting in my sister's house, and I said, you know what? I'm not redoing or submitting or filling out another job application ever again. Like, I'm done with that. Like, I'm done with other people crushing me. I'm better than that. And I'm going to find a way to make my own company. And so I had already started taking like Instagram photos, like not knowing what I was going to do. And I started talking to a few entrepreneurs here when I came back. And when I was talking to them, I realized, you know what, I could tell you how to run a successful business, but you're never going to do it unless you have the right motivation to do it. And so literally, like, every night when I'm just watching Netflix, I'm on my phone just like searching like thoughts that come to my head, like, how do you help business owners get motivated? Right? Like, stuff like that. coaching here, coaching, like, it kept popping up, and I had no idea what coaching was. I never heard about it other than like a fitness coach. And lo and behold, I found the coaching world. The coaching world found me. The search engines are amazing. And, you know, ad impressions, like, they did their job, and they got me in. And I like watched a video with a coach, and I was like, yes, this is like everything I want to do, or everything I want to do. And I just kept following her, and I kept studying what she was doing. I signed up for her program for 30 days. And I just went all in on it. And then through her, because she was coaching other coaches, I was learning what they were doing. And it just really felt like the clouds parted. And I just got entrenched into this world of coaching. And because I was doing that, you know, when you ever first dip your toe into it, it's asking you a lot of deeply seated questions about yourself.
Yeah.
Find your, all of that. And as I got into that day after day for those first 30 days, I was hooked. I was like, I do need to know all of these things about myself. Like, I do need this kind of help. You know, through that program, I had met a relationship coach, and like just talking to her, and I'm like, yes, I do need this in my life. And
Wow.
all of that, I just went all in and had to just ask myself, okay, what kind of coach do I want to be? Because that's what I'm going to do for the rest of my life. Done and done.
Wow.
And I was able to improve myself,
Mm-hmm.
my relationship, improve myself even as a mom, and develop into being my own entrepreneur.
Wow, I love that. So listening to like, especially the obstacle in general, like I was like, oh my God, I so relate. Not with the 6-figure income, but I relate to just coming from a place of where you were empowered, you can hold your own, and you didn't have to depend on anyone but yourself, to coming to that place in Germany, because we were around the same. And it was like, you go from having access to everything to having access to, and I don't want to say nothing, you just had to travel to get access to it. And I was kind of like, you took me back while you were talking. I was like, oh my God, I feel you. Because I remember, I was so excited. I was nervous too, but I was so excited. And I remember, like, 'cause where we lived, we got to look out, like because we were high up, so we can see all the houses in our village. So I was like, oh, I'm a queen, looking at my village, And that part, it was like, this is like a fairy tale, because all the homes look like from the fairy tale books, reading. Which, of course, later on learning that, what is it, Hans, what is it, the fables and all that, what was it called? Oh my God, all those stories that we read growing up, they came from German stories. So I was like, oh, it comes all the way around, huh?
Are you thinking Hansel and Gretel?
That's one of the stories, but I was thinking the authors, Grimm. Oh, the Grimm story. Oh man, I'm messing it up. Anyway, a lot of the stories came from there. And so I was like excited. And then the routine of, okay, in Germany, we have to open the windows, you have to clean the windows, you have to wash and dry your clothes outside because the washer is like, takes forever. And like, I didn't have the connect with the American community until a couple of years down into living there. So I was really like, I was in Germany.
Yeah, doubly as hard.
Yes. So, so when I did meet 2 Americans my first year there, like within the first couple of months, but they were both married to German men. So they actually helped my shift and helped me to like deal with being married in a different culture and living in a different culture. So that was kind of like my little touch. But to actually be on post and deal with like the military, it took a couple of years before I was like, well, that's a lie. I worked on post when I first got there. So I lived in that bubble for half a second. And when I say a half a second, I mean a half a second, because I was determined that when I come to Germany, I'm going to have a job. It's not going to be me depending, because I had the same thing. I'm not dependent on nobody, But because the school systems, the times were different, my kids would come home early. And at that time, I had to depend on my husband's parents who didn't speak English. And of course, I didn't speak German, and neither did my kids. And they were watching them. and it just came, there was a lot of miscommunication and it was turmoil. Same thing, had issues with the marriage because it was just turmoil because of miscommunication. So I had to leave my job on post and still in my American bubble. And it was like, okay, life started to hit. And then I thought to myself, you know, I always said, you know, one day I want to be married. I have it. I'm living in Europe. And as I was like, I think I was hanging up laundry. I was coming from the basement and going outside to hang up laundry. And I was like, who signed up for this shit? That's what.
You were not very clear about your manifestation, were you?
Yeah, but see, that's the thing. I had to look and say, wait, I did ask for, you know, I wasn't specific, but I did ask for that. You know, I said, you know, for a while, because I had always hustled and I was like, I'm tired. I want to get away from the hustle. And I did, but I was like, oh my God, this is so boring. I'm like, oh my, like, please somebody save me. So, so I feel you and I struggled. Trust me. I was like, I need to find a job. But my husband was like, don't worry about working yet. You know, like you got to be there with the kids because they need help with the transition. But it was very hard, definitely, to transition from going from being somebody, I felt like, to just being a mom, which I don't take away that from, you know, because this is a blessing, first of all, to be a mom. But, you know, when I, as a person who was always involved with people, I was Miss Nikki. I was changing lives with fitness. You know, I was doing movies because I do professional acting. So it was like, I was doing all these different things. And I was like, and it all went like this big life to like, you're just a wife and a mom. And my husband actually used to be offended by me saying that. And it wasn't meant to offend. He just didn't understand that, you know, it was just something new. It was a new thing to get used to. And again, going to that message of beyond the title, right? Yeah. So having to learn,
Yeah, 100% beyond the title.
Yeah, beyond the title, and having to learn who I was beyond all of that. And so it was a big aha moment living out there and really peeling, you know, back like, oh, fitness person, oh, actress, oh, singer, oh, this. No, who is Nicole? Mm-hmm. Beyond the Miss Nikki. Who is Nicole, you know? And so what I saw, or what I'm seeing even in your story, is very similar. It's like when all those things are taken from you, it's like, well, what do you have left? And you kind of get to the core of, well, I have all this knowledge now from everything that I've learned through life that I can give back. I can give to someone else, that I can bless them, so I can guide them and not let them have to experience what I experienced, because now they have a guide. You know, they have someone to say, I've been there and there's hope. You know, you can do this, you can do that, and you encourage. And I love that. And I wish that I would have met you. What was that? I wish that.
I think I reached out to you like the week before you were leaving.
Yeah. I really wish that we would, because I couldn't find anyone. Like I didn't know anyone that was in that space. Like, and I've always been in the business space, and like even like with network marketing, and it wasn't that big of a thing. I guess they have some companies there, but again, it was people in German, and German people operate completely different from Americans. And so like my excitement was a lot of times too much. It was like, tone it down. It's very straightforward, and not to knock them. I love they
just don't know
the
what
focus
about that emotion.
Right. but I admired that focus, that drive. I admired that part. So I'm hoping that I picked up some of that while I was out there. But it really is amazing that you found that space within, you know, the internet. I don't know. I just didn't see, I couldn't see that. I don't know. But again, like, I wish that I would have met you, but it doesn't matter because God has his plan. I met you when I was supposed to meet you.
Right.
Because I definitely was going through it. I don't think I saw a lot of things because, you know, when you're going through stuff, you only, you know, it's like you're blinded to a lot of things that are in front of you. But like, I'm so grateful though that you came to the circle. I know this is totally off topic, but I'm just like excited. You got me fired up. Because I was like someone else who understands. And so I mean, thank you for that and sharing that part of your journey and telling us that there is hope on the other side of the tunnel. So those of you who are listening, yes, and you are questioning like whatever you're going through, trust me, seek and you shall find. As Aria said, she sought, she found, she fell in love, she embraced what was opened up to her. So
I want to add that I didn't just fall in love with coaching. I didn't just fall in love with the idea of being an entrepreneur. Every single one of you who are listening to this right now, if you can relate at all about the lack of hope, the lack of self-confidence, the lack of pride that you may have had in yourself at one point in time, I will tell you right now that empowering myself to become a coach and to make an impact exactly the way that I want to, I got to fall in love with me again. And that is the biggest privilege that entrepreneurship has ever given me. Just like being a mom is such a big privilege, and being able to love somebody on that level is a big privilege. It's a gift. It's phenomenal. Imagine if you got to have that feeling for yourself.
More goosebumps, see?
Right.
and people forget that.
Mm-hmm. They don't even know. I think some people don't even realize that we're allowed to actually be in love with ourselves. We're allowed to be that proud and that happy.
Yes. I don't know if you heard the song by Lizzo, I'm in love with myself.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yes. Because when I heard that song, I was like, yes, this is my song. This is my theme song. I'm in love with myself.
Love it.
And we have to be in love with every aspect of ourselves. Like my theme this year is living my truth. And it has been to go against what others have told me I should be, and to actually live your own. So awesome. So please tell me, who was your biggest supporter through all of this?
Wow. Great question. I would say that, so I was lucky enough to find one really gem of a friend out here. Her name is Brenda, and she didn't necessarily come from this world of entrepreneurship or the corporate world. Like, our lives looked extremely different. She didn't know me at all, and she dove into the 10-foot pool with me, like 10 feet deep with me. And she really supported me in all areas of my life. And when this came up, when I need to take a time out of my relationship, when I don't know how to be a mom, all of it, she stuck by me. And even though this whole entrepreneurial journey may have not been something like she was 100% there with, you know what I mean? It's not like we were on the same road. She was very, very into sports and fitness. And so that determined mindset, that's where we clicked together. That's where we were on the same page. And she would help me she would drive me and my son to school because I didn't have a car or something would be wrong with my car, just anything. And every day, she would ask me, what's next? What's next? What's next? That is a very coaching sports mindset, right?
Right.
We'll work out today. Okay. And then what? I'm going to do arms today. Okay. You're going to do legs tomorrow. That kind of mindset. And that was what I think really like fueled my humanity
Mm.
to just keep going. And it gave me a chance to just, it gave me an outlet to share it with somebody, because honestly, if I had to sit here and literally within four walls and I had nobody to say any of it to, I probably wouldn't have been as motivated.
Yeah.
So I encourage anybody to find somebody to just speak your truth to, even if you think they don't get you, they might, right? Like I found somebody who did on some level. And I think that really helped me stay consistent. It helped me like be proud of what it was I was doing, because if I can say it to her and she's going to ask me what's next every day, can you imagine the people who I would help, right? The people who are working with me, who are in my business, they're going to then want to know what's next and what's next. I got to show up for it.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you, Brenda. We appreciate you.
Right.
So, how do you feel that you are adding to your community?
So I'm going to tell you a really personal story that I actually don't get to tell a lot. And this might not be even where you thought this was going to go. So my whole family are very community service centered people. They are God and service first, always. My parents are huge in our community back on Guam. My mom is constantly volunteering. They're pillars of the church there. They're constantly helping people. I've met so many, like my mom is one of the most popular people on the island because she helps so many people.
Oh, that's awesome.
Great it is. My dad is a deacon. We're Catholic. He's deacon. So like, that's how far they've really pushed themselves. They're even a part of like an organization that's all around, bringing faith into your community. And on the other side of it, one of my older sisters, or my oldest sister, though she's not in any formal way helping her communities, God blessed her with a very rare heart where she literally comes into people's lives at the right time. And she is all about giving selflessly. And it's just 100% who she is. Like I said, she came and she saved me just to be present because she knew that's what I needed. And then my other sister, she and her husband, also in Guam, like they've done so much in the community to give back. And then here's my husband in the military. And when he used to take me to work sometimes. And if I would be upset or angry going to work, and I'd just be like, why don't you get riled up about like the people you work with? He's like, because at the end of the day, I'm serving my country and I'm okay with that. I actually used to be jealous of him. Like, I'm the aspirational one. Like, what am I doing in my community? I'm walking into these double doors and collecting this beautiful paycheck, but what the F am I doing? Right? Like, if I'm supposed to be doing better than all of them on paper, but I'm not contributing to society. I'm not paying taxes. What the F are you doing, Arya? And it actually used to make me really sad. Like that's why I had to start listening to podcasts, because on my way home on these drives, I needed to get out of my head because I would replay these things of like, what are you doing? And that's what I said. Like, I was just kind of wandering around like, why am I here? Like, I am surrounded by all these people who make a great impact on the world. And what did you do? You put money in the collection basket on Sunday. You paid your taxes on time. You took the bus. Like, wow, right? Big contribution. And getting into this and knowing that I can help, and seeing that I can help people really find true happiness in their lives. I have literally seen people turn, and I've experienced this too, people turn from negativity and misery into happiness and fulfillment. And that is how I am contributing to bringing peace back into the world. Even if it's that one woman's world, that's way more than what I would have done in that corporate office.
Wow. Well, we appreciate that and we appreciate you. Yes, thank you. So what tips would you give someone who is sitting on the fence of the field of their dreams? They know they want to do more. They know that they have an idea, but they just can't step over to the other side. They can't make a decision. What advice would you give someone like that?
Oh, there's so many ifs, ands, or buts in that scenario. But what I would like for her to hear, amongst all the other things that I could ever tell her, all the other strategies and mindset tricks and all that anybody could ever tell her, is that you are perfectly imperfect, and it is that is meant to make you bigger, raise you higher, and give you the actual kind of life that you would ever dream of living. And I really would want her to know that you don't have to be all of these different things to be successful. You just have to be authentic, and you just have to have the confidence, build the confidence to know that you're worth it.
Yes. Yes. All right. Well, we are at the lightning round. Dun, 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 dun. So I'm going to ask you 5 questions, and then you answer them short, sweet, however you want to answer them. And we'll see how it goes. Yes. Okay. So the first question is, what held you back, if anything, from committing your life to change?
I thought it was money. That was a self-made lie. And it was really self-confidence. Believing that I could do it. Yeah.
Okay. And what is the best advice you have ever received?
It wasn't even advice. It was a question. And you've heard this on the podcast. What is your North Star?
Okay. What is your North Star?
It was just that, changing the world one powerful woman at a time.
Okay, so share a personal habit that contributes to your success.
I don't want to say it's a habit, but I guess it is, because I'm very consistent with it. Having a coach.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes, to make you through, because guess what? There are times when you're not going to show up for yourself, and sometimes you need someone to give you that extra pull. And we've had that throughout life. People don't realize that, from our parents to our teachers to our actual coaches in school. If you did a sport, like, there was always somebody that pulled us, but we didn't look at them as that. That was just
I love to say we were not meant to live this life alone.
No.
We were especially not meant to build it alone.
That is correct. Yes. Golden nuggets. Okay. So what book would you recommend to the C2C family, and why?
It's not on my table right now, but I would say Super Attractor. Oh,
Super Attractor.
Get that superpower. Yeah, by Gabby Bernstein. Want to know how to step into your power? Word for word, chapter by chapter, you will feel stronger every day.
Putting that on my list.
And I think
Awesome.
you'd be especially interested in hearing her story. So just look around for stories or podcasts she's been on. I think you'll love it.
Yeah, I've listened to one of her other. I know her. I'm trying to think. I feel like she had another book.
She did.
And I
The Universe Has Your Back.
Say it again.
The Universe Has Your Back.
Was it that one? I know I've heard her because I've listened to her speak. I think she was on, I feel like she was on Oprah, and that's what made me discover her, or one of the other podcasts I listened to. But yes, I'm not going to to waste your lightning round trying to figure out my life. But I do know who that is, and I'm definitely going to check that out. I'm excited about it. Yay! Okay. Big question. If you found out that you had 1 hour left to live, but you were given the opportunity to say one final message, what would it be?
Do better. I mean, there's so many different contexts of it, but what I hope people would hear at the end of it is you have the chance to do better. So do better.
Do better. Yes. Well, please tell our audience where they can find you and what you're doing and join your programs and be lifted into their career into entrepreneurship.
Yes, absolutely. So I too have a podcast, like Nikki said earlier on. It is called Brand Boss, and it is all about all the many different ways that you get to build your magnetic brand in both your career as well as your business. So I have weekly shows, and when I am taking some time off, it just means, you know what? This girl needs a little bit of time off, and that's okay, right? We're boss here. So we do that. Yeah. The other thing that you can do is you can go to my website, ariaalmeida.com. The reason I want you to go there is because I have freebies there. You can get your boss launch checklist so you can launch your business like a boss. You can get all these other things that are going to be going up and going to see you when you get there. There is a brand blog where I turn a lot of what I publish out here in the world, whether it be on Instagram, IGTV, my Facebook group, on the podcast. I even have a YouTube channel. All of that, it all kind of comes back and arrives back onto the blog. So you will understand, you'll see all of the different things that I share, I talk about, and I teach in my programs. You can also get a whiff of some of my programs like the Brand Boss Business School as well as the Next Level Mastermind. And you can just see what I'm about and the kind of coach I am there. So meet me on the Brand Boss podcast or see me on my website at ariaalmeida.com.
Yes. And make sure, yes, she said there's freebies. And I know for me, when it's free, it's for me. So get on her website and snatch those up.
Absolutely.
Yes. So, well, I can't believe the time is over already.
That was great.
Yes. So I just want to say thank you, because that is a wrap. Miss Aria Almeida, thank you so much for being a VIP guest on the C2C podcast. And I want to thank all of our listeners for tuning in. And we hope you feel inspired and you keep moving forward towards your goals and stick with or make a commitment to change your life. Please make sure to share the links or to check out the links provided by our guests and to share today's podcast and information with anyone that you feel may benefit from it. And remember, in order to get to the top of the steps, you have to take the first step. Just don't step on anyone on the way, because you just might trip. This is Miss Nikki. Till next time. Bye.
Ciao.
Yay.
Commit to change your life, change your future.